The best players in the NBA are consistently getting younger, and I wanted to figure out who the top 10 were, but not just by my own opinion and methods. I wanted to find them using math. And I say math, but I really mean math, as in like advanced stats and metrics and all the nerdy analytics stuff that I like to do. And I've got the 10 best players under 25 for you guys today. First of all, I'm using a metric known as BPM, which is box plus minus. Basically, it shows how good a player is on 100 possessions, how much better their team does over 100 possessions with them on the floor. If they have a BPM of 10, it's an all-time season, Jordan, LeBron, right? 8, MVP season, 6, All-NBA, 4 is an all-star, 2 is a starter, and 0 is like the league average, good starter, 6-man, right? So I want to see where these guys ranked at. I put in a bunch of different names. Today we're using Darko. This is my new favorite like toy and like tool to use to kind of use a bunch of different metrics and look at kind of projections and rankings like this. I'm going to be using this a lot in the channel going forward. And their metric is called a DPM, or daily plus minus, which basically it inputs stuff from the box score into this program, and the computer generates it and gives a bunch of different numbers and stuff. So we're going to be looking at the best players under 25 based off of their daily plus minus. At number 10, we've got the lowest DPM on this list, but it's better than not being on the list at all. Paolo Banchero, DPM of 45. So I want to reference this. 45, or I guess 0.45, basically means numbers-wise, the Paolo is a good starter. Not bad, right? So it's carried by his offense, 0.8, which is like okay, and his defense, which shocked me because he doesn't like... I don't look at him as a bad player, and obviously we can see his progression here. Rookie year started up pretty high. All these dots are the games. Started up pretty high, and then the red line is the trend. So he got worse, and then he got better the entire season. So maybe going into next season, he can have a jump. We could see that, kind of the third-year jump that everyone likes to talk about. But as of right now, I mean, Paolo is number 10 on this list. Number 9, we got Trae Young, and he is this far down because, I mean, look at this. He's got a DPM of 1, which is like, he's a good starter. But offensively, like purely offensively, he is in all-star consideration on his own, basically, right? But his defense, that negative 2.12, brings that down to a 1, which makes him effectively a good starter. I mean, you can even see here, down here in the corner, his DPM in terms of percentile, 80, 90% offense, 95 maybe percent, and then he's like 10% percentile in defense, which is like not good. Then over here you can see his curve. He started out, relatively, I mean, actually pretty bad. He was dipped down into the negative 3s. Then he broke forward, and he's been pretty consistent, kind of dipped off past 2 seasons, but that Eastern Conference Finals run in 2021 really helped him. And I mean, personally, looking at this is a good player. Number 9. Number 8, we got a guy that really surprised me and I think is going to make a big jump this year specifically, but Zion sits at a 1.16. His offense, I was expecting his offense to be a little bit higher than that, at least a 2. I mean, looking at right here, his offensive ODPM is around the 100% centile. How do you say that? I don't even know how to say that. 100 percentile? I need to learn more about how to say this. But his defense shocked me as well. He's in the negatives defensively, so he basically loses his team points the more he's on the court, which isn't great. And then you can see he's kind of in a major slump. Didn't play a whole lot 2 seasons ago. Last season played a lot, but he progressively got worse over the season, leading to that. And so I want to see more from him this year. I think that the Pelicans really can build an offense around him, especially where they have DeJounte Murray. CJ McCollum goes back to being a shooting guard. You got B.I. back, and you kind of lose Larry Nance and Jonas Valanciunas in the paint. Give Zion some more buckets in the paint. I don't know. I think his offensive DPM could shoot up, and maybe we're going to have to revisit this. Don't know why he's listed at shooting guard. That's probably why his offensive DPM is so high, because he's in the shooting guards. But weird to look at there. And the trend for this video is you'll see that specialists normally do well, unless you're Trae Young. You're special in offense, but equally as bad in defense, which is bad. But Chet right here, he's positive in ODPM, which is, it's not negative. I'll just say that right now. But his speciality is on defense, and so that brings him up to about a 2 already. As a rookie, being a 2, it's pretty good. That's already better than than the guys we've listed so far who are in their third, fourth, fifth, sixth season, right? Looking at percentiles, Chet is already up there in terms of DPM. That's really good. One of the best players in the league. Obviously, if he's a good starter, that means he's one of the, top 100 players in the league, usually, right? Offense is there. Defense, I'm surprised the defensive percentile for centers isn't higher, but according to this isn't that good for a center, but this is pretty good for a center. The positive ODPM is pretty good for a center. And then obviously here, he didn't play all of his actual rookie year, but this year's his rookie year. Only had one game in the negative the entire year. So the entire time Chet Holmgren's on the court, he is actively getting you buckets. I like Chet. I think this will skyrocket this year. He's going to get a bigger role. Maybe it won't if Isaiah Hartenstein plays more minutes. If they start side by side, I don't really know how this is going to work out. But I mean, this could go up, and he could be top 5 by the end of the season. Number 6, we got Ja Morant, and this surprised me because I don't look at Ja Morant and I don't view, hey, he actively every single game, like that's his offensive rating. And Trae Young was like a 3, I believe, 3.2. He's at a 2.4 basically. That's pretty good. That's a lot better than I thought it was going to be. Defensively, he needs to be a little bit better. I think it's just because he's a smaller guard, and that doesn't really help his case a lot. But I mean, percentiles. Doing pretty well. Obviously, defensive, not very good. Offensive, around the 90s. And the spike, I mean, he barely played any of last season. And that's for the dip-off. But, I mean, for his career, it's weird to look at that he was in the negative for the most of the time. Hits that jump at 2021, 22, and he's basically been there. If he wasn't an injury, I think it would have plateaued or gone higher towards this way if he was healthy the entire year. I think, once again, this is another guy that will get more opportunities this coming season, will perform better, and I think they're going to be a lock for a top 6 seed in the West, 100%. This is where the math part starts to come in because I'm like, in my mind, I'm not taking Tyrese Maxey over Ja Morant. I don't know about you guys. Let me know. But Maxey is at a 2. So literally 2 flat, what does that say? A good starter. And obviously we know Maxey was an all-star this past year. But his offense, once again, you don't look at him and you're like, wow, 2.48. Maybe that's a little bit stunted even. Potentially numbers-wise with Embiid on the court all the time. And then defensively, once again with the small guards, they just aren't, analytically, they're not good defenders, which is very, very interesting because those are the guys who usually like rack up the steals and they're quick and they're moving around a lot. But stats don't view him as a great defender. Obviously, he's top 5 for a reason. I mean, look at it. He had a game in the -4 his rookie year, shoots up, and it's literally, this is the most exponential curve that we've seen thus far. It's straight up. There's some little dips here, maybe a little bit of a shootout, and it mellows back out. But the red line overall, this is the most consistent we've seen. You can bet your money on this guy being a good player for a long time. Now, when we're talking about numbers, this guy at number 4 makes 100% sense. I mean, look at this. As good, actually, that is, I'm checking it, the exact same ODPM as Trae Young, but just he's not -2 on defense. He's negative, but not that bad. This shows you straight up, if Tyrese steps up his defense just a little bit, he is right there. So, I mean, that's a 2.45. We know he's an all-star. Once again, his curve is definitely a lot more exponential, one of the more consistent ones that we've seen. This guy led the Pacers to the Eastern Conference Finals this past year. If he can step up his defense, and he's been shooting the lights out. They played in the NBA Cup final. I mean, watching them beat that Celtics team was crazy. Him hit that sidestep 3. I mean, this guy is a star. I mean, even though he didn't play for Team USA in the Olympics, he's still a great player. And I think the Pacers are a very big threat and a very fun team to watch in the East. I mean, they make me want to watch the East, especially in the playoffs, because of like, oh, wait, what? They beat this team? Oh, wait, they beat that team? Oh, wait, they're in the Eastern Conference Finals? They have a shot to go to the finals? We all know that the Celtics were going to beat him the whole time. But it's still fun to see him lead this team. And kind of everyone says he's that new Steve Nash, but really is. He really leads the team very, very well. Now we are in the top 3, baby. We got Anthony Edwards top 3 at a DPM of just under 3.5. Basically rounding up, that's a 4. He's going to be an all-star every single year for the rest of his career. That's my speculation. ODPM looks really good. He's positive in defense. He's a great defensive player. Once again, I mean, he had some really bad games to start, but he has been shot. He's shot off. He's been consistently over 2.5 for the past 2 seasons. Obviously, this past year, very, very good player. But obviously, one of the more linear curves that we've seen from a player. I mean, he's probably going to be holding the West down for at least the next 5 years. But at number 2, I mean, this is a guy, talking about holding the West down, this guy could do it this year, next year, and forever. He could do this for the rest of his career, 100%. Looking at a guy who just played his rookie year, and obviously a lot can be said about volume and him playing for a bad team and stats favor a guy like that. But having a DPM at basically a 5, which is an all-star consideration in an all-NBA season, is crazy. The highest DDPM that we've seen thus far. I mean, as a rookie for centers, he's already in the 95th percentile for defense, 95th percentile for offense. I mean, he is crazy. That's a really high offensive DPM for a guy who just came in the league. And it's interesting to look at. He had about 10-ish games in the negative. And then every other game since then has shot up. I mean, you see this little stretch right here where he's at a 4. Obviously, there can be a lot said for being having a bad team. But if you're going to put up numbers, you're going to put up numbers. So this is just one of those guys who's just going to be a dog. His team's going to be good, and he can still be putting these numbers up consistently. It's just part of his play style. Be big, get rebound, shoot threes, block shots. Like, he's going to stuff the stat sheet, and he's going to be there for a long time. You might be thinking to yourself, why is he not number 1? If he is not the best player under 25, who could it possibly be? And I guess you could smudge it a little bit technically if you want to look at it like this. But number 1 is Luka Doncic, who he's 25 currently. I decided to accept that because there are guys who are like legit 26. He's not legit 26 yet. So why not put him in this list? He turns 26 in February, I believe. So, but I mean, look at this. Offensive DPM of 514. This is Luka Doncic, dude. We all know what we're talking about here. I mean, look at this. 100 percentile in ODPM. Normal DPM is crazy. Defensive, he's negative, but barely, which looks like it's a lot better than what it used to be. And I mean, rough start to his rookie year, but ever since then, dude, a little bit of a dip here. That's really interesting. But outside of that, he has been balling. But basically being at above a 2.5 for the past 3 seasons says a lot about him. I mean, he's definitely better than a good starter. He's going to be an all-star for a long time. I mean, people are telling each other that this dude could break LeBron's scoring record if he does it. He's got to play for a long time. He's got to play very good for a long time. But he is 100% the best player, 25 or under. It's not even close. Shea would have been on the list too, but Shea turned 26 like last month. Just how the cookie crumbles, bro. But yeah, dude, it's so interesting to see how the numbers pick the guys, and you get to see who's where analytically. Halliburton's up. Banchero's super down. Trae Young is good offensively, but not defensively. We all know that from the eye test. But that's all I got for today, bro. It's very interesting to see. I might have to do best players from 25 to 30. Check the same thing out. I mean, it's got to be kind of fun. 30 to 35. I guess we can do that age range now because guys like Stephen and Bron and KD are just going crazy. So I'm going to have to do this again, keep it a little serious, but that's all I got for today. We out.